I need to change that. Okay, so there's that. So now it's going to YouTube as well, in theory. I'm not seeing an issue yet. Of course, ain't nobody watching, which is fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and kick on Facebook. See, I'm starting to think the problem was Facebook, but I don't know that. I don't know that for certain. I'm gonna give it a little bit before I get too carried away. Let's see how the buffering goes. I'll give it 10 minutes and keep an eye on it that way. Hey Shane. Yeah, man, I'm gonna forge, but the streaming issues we had Wednesday night were really weird. And what's funny is, in terms of the bit rate that we were getting, it hasn't changed, but the buffering was just going nuts. It was like the cache on the device kept filling up, which was telling us that whatever we were sending to wasn't receiving quickly enough. And I am suspecting that it was Comcast, not any of the other services. But I can't rule them out. I can't rule out, because we only tried Facebook and then the problem persisted on Facebook. However, we did end up streaming from my phone to Instagram, and that seemed to be fine. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, here we are. I'm using the boom mic on this particular camera. I've only set the one camera up for this. I just realized that if I'm, well, I guess you can kind of see me from here. The camera angle isn't, it's not ideal. But what I like about it is if I come up here to read the comments, you can just stare at my gut while I read the comments, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't that what the kids want to see? So I've not even started my fire yet. I'm actually, it got really humid yesterday, and everything in here feels really kind of wet. In fact, I've wiped the lens down. This is probably be the third time I've had to wipe it down. It looks okay now, but I've had to wipe it down like 3 times because it just fogs over. It's that humid out here. So I'm not sure how well this paper is going to light. And it just feels soggy, to be honest. So I might need to come up with a better plan. This is, here we go. I forgot about this bag. I got some wood in here. Not much, but some. Oh, I think I got a piece of, well, I thought I had a piece of pepper laying around, but I don't see it. This is a big chunk, that's for sure. Let's tear one of these big old chunks. Hey, I got a power hammer that turns big chunks of wood into little chunks of wood. Relatively easy. Ooh, I don't do it. These guys do it. Let's see what happens. connector. Well, you know what I gotta do though? I gotta hook my blower up. I'll be sitting here going, why aren't this thing catching on fire? Yeah, we started the stream like normal, and I stream it to the 3 different things, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and we were seeing problems. So we turned off. YouTube was experiencing some weird issue where it wouldn't even connect. So I just immediately disabled it. And then I disabled the other thing. Then we had this other problem. We thought we fixed that, and we went to this other thing, and then it was just choppy all night. It was weird. It was a weird night. I blame Jesse. He's a buddy of ours, and he's never watched the stream except for that night. And when he got on that night, everything went to shit. So it's all Jesse's fault. All Jesse's fault. Let me plug in my blower. So I don't have to, but I run an electric blower on this particular forge. Just because, you know, lazy. And I thought, well, one, when we're doing tools, an electric blower is a little more ideal. When you're working on bigger stuff, you don't have to sit here and babysit it as much. But the other thing was, for the stringing, I thought it would be a little easier for me not having to worry about turning the crank and paying attention to everything else. That's kind of hit or miss though. Make sure it's good to go. Let me come over here and get some coal. Usually like to use coal unless I'm going to use coal, but I'm using coke typically. But, being the conditions as they are, I'm just going to start the fire with some coal. Green coal, and I'll bring in the coke. There we go. Now we got it. That should be enough to get this going. Not, well, I guess it's not. Okay. I do have a plan on what I want to forge and such, but outside of that, I wasn't planning to stream. But I do have plans. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to change the Facebook comments. This damn thing. Let me go in here real quick. Gotta go in here. Edit this. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, I wasn't necessarily planning to stream. I mean, I was planning to stream because I wanted to test it. But we're 16 minutes in and it hasn't started doing the buffering thing yet. So, cross my fingers. I think maybe that issue has gone away. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I do have some half-inch square bar, and I had some plans that I wanted to do. One of those is I wanted to start working on the Abana Curriculum 1 stuff again, because I did it mostly. I just never got around to finishing it off, and so I'm woefully behind. And in that time, Paul and I, my buddy, we put a big 250-pound power hammer in its place and did a bunch of other stuff. So a lot of my pieces are missing, which is funny because I'm sure that as soon as I do this, I'll find the damn things. Well, that's okay. I mean, right? I mean, that to me. So here's the thing with the curriculum, right? Once you've done it, does that necessarily mean that you know it? And I don't necessarily believe that's the case. You've done it once. Can you do it again? You should be able to, I mean, if you've done it once, doing it again should be no big deal. Right? It should be no big deal. If you've done it once, you should be able to do it again, and it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm gonna try. This is probably not going to make any difference, but I'm going to go ahead and put a light over here and see if it doesn't help a little bit. I can remember how to turn it on. Oh, there we go. So I don't know. It's in frame a little bit. It's just going to have to be, I think. Like I said, I wasn't planning to stream, so I'm just using a camera. You're not going to get like super in-depth close-up views or anything. I do need some fuel on the table though, because I am running close to something. Luckily. Using it, but it's raining today, so being that it's raining, I don't have to go outside. I can just grab it from right there on that wagon. Super duper. Ring. Different fire. Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do that yet. Let me get some more fuel. All right. Dink. Hey, Dustin. Oh, let's see. Here. It's gonna get a little smoky because I started this fire with green coal. Let me kick this door open a little bit. Might help with some air pushing us out. It's a little chilly today, though. Not bad. So I said I was going to work on Urbana Curriculum 1 stuff because I'm way behind and I need to. I'd like to take it with me to Johnstown and get it graded. And I have a lot of this stuff done. I just don't know where it's at. So, man pampered. What the shit? This is man pampering. Have a good one, man. But yeah, so I'm not doing anything exciting. I'm gonna go through some of the Urbana stuff. Let's see. I have Chrome on this dude. Yeah, okay. I want Urbana. Not a banana. Urbana. Stop helping me. The thing, my phone auto-corrected it to banana. So, here we go. So we're at the Urbana website. Can you see that? I'm going to focus on that. Yeah, not really. But I'm going to go to education, I think. National curriculum. Level 1. Because I'm a bad boy and I'm tardy. And it's really smoky in here. So it's got a checklist. So I'm going to just try to work off the checklist. You guys are getting like neck cam. Let's see. Safety. Really? Safety? Really? Safety. Come on. Nomenclature of anvil. Anvil. Forge. You guys can't see the button. Here's the button. Jaws. Blah, 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 blah. Horn thing. Horny. Square horn. Near side. Far side. How do you even demonstrate? I guess you could demonstrate it there. Okay, so tapers. By the way, tapers. You sons of bitches. I did this once. I don't know where those pieces went. So you got a square, octagon, round, and chisel tip taper, and a diamond taper. Here, diamond taper. It is not a goddamn diamond. It forms a diamond shape. It is it's a square taper turned 45 degrees on axis. So you take this square bar, and you're gonna forge this down square to a taper. It's still a square taper. It's just turned 45 degrees. So what happens is the tip creates a diamond shape. It is not actually a diamond. I forged a goddamn diamond, you bastards. Oh, it just says that. So here's what I'll do. I will mark off an inch on for each taper and cut them at 2 inches. Where the hell's my square? Holy shit. I got 2 over here. Now I cannot find either one of them. Welcome to my life. But yeah, it's not technically a diamond taper. It's a diamond It creates a diamond shaped point. It's not even a diamond shaped field. I'll show you. I was watching an Mark Adler video and it came up. As I was watching it, I was like, well, son of a bitch, those bastards had me actually forge an actual diamond. Which I did. Look how smoky it is in here. Alright, so I need 2 inches. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to mark these off 2 inches. And then that's where I'll cut it. Look at that. Rip roaring right now, and it does not need to be. But yeah, ooh, it got really smoky too. Jennifer Petrella jumps on here. She's gonna think I'm trying to kill myself. I don't think I've smoked it up in here like this in a while. I don't know if anybody's actually watching. If you are, make sure you sound off, please. Nobody on the Facebooks. There's somebody on Twitch. Which is fine, really. I was testing, and actually the beat. This is what's really strange. The bits per second, it's actually lower right now than when Paul and I were watching it. It was really strange. Okay, square taper. So, when you're doing, geez, you guys can't see shit. When you're doing a square taper, for me, one of the things I personally want to see, let's say this, and I haven't even done this for one of the things I want to see in your square taper is I want to see that it's square. So if I look down this piece, it should be square, which it's hard for me to focus on it with all that crap in the background. So let me. That's not square. So let me fix it. I'll take a couple hits. It's a little more rectangle than square. So if I were a grading instructor and you brought me a piece, that's something I'm going to look for. I'm going to look at the end of that and I want to see that it's square. And it should remain square throughout the remainder of the taper. This side right here. And you don't have to, you just correct it. It looks a lot better. This is going to be a piece. Here's a good thing with Kilford. I see guys that take pieces all bashed up. Yeah, it's really smoky in here, man. I had to use coal. All my paper, it's really humid in here today, and it's been like misting and raining. Not that it's doing that inside, but everything's damp. So I just used green coal today to start my fire with, and well, yeah. Anyway, so back to the Abana thing, right? Like if I were an instructor, I'm going to look down this and this needs to be square. If it's a square taper, right? It's a square taper. But the other thing I want to look at is I want to see evenness here. I want to see your forging start and stop. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to see it relatively close all the way across. As I go across this, I would like to see it relatively the same all the way across where your forging starts and stops, your hammer blows. I don't want to see any hammer blows up here, except for maybe where you cut it off. That's fine. You know, keep it contained up here. But in between, I don't want to see any hammer blows up here. And then again, I'm going to look down this piece, and I want to see that it's square. That's why we call it a square taper. I don't want to see this all bashed up and beat up when you bring it to me. I want to see nice, clean forging. You know, I don't want, you know, keep it crisp. Make it look good. You're presenting this to somebody. Yeah, it's definitely hazy in here, man. You're presenting this to somebody as a representation of your work. So present the best work you can. You know, take your time. There's no rush. You don't get a prize for doing it quicker than everybody else. What I'm noticing looking at mine is it's got a slight twist in it. So I'm going to go back over it real quick and try to clean it up. I am not an abandoned instructor. I haven't even finished level 1 yet. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going through the tapers. So there's a square taper, round taper, octagon, chisel point, and diamond point. So I'm just going to do those on a piece of 1/2-inch square bar. And then I had those somewhere. And then what I'll do is I'm going to drill them out on the ends, a little hole, you know, just like an 1/8-inch hole on them. And I'll put them on a little keychain type thing. I don't need this super hot. All I'm doing is correcting the twist that I saw. So right there, it's twisting out. So I want to fix that a little bit. Like I said, you don't want to turn it something all bashed up though, so just go easy on it. And I think that pretty much got it. Come back and look, you'll notice there's not a lot of, it's hard to see with this smoke. It might have fogged up the lens. I'll have to check that here in a second. But the thing is right, there's no big nasty hammer marks there. There's a mark here, that's where I marked, that's where I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna get this back in the fire, get it hot, cut. Try not to burn my tip off. Otherwise I need to do it again. But my point being, if I were an instructor, those were things I would be looking at. Yeah, 1/4 inch would be fine too. I don't know that there's a specification on the dimension of material you use. I don't know that it matters, to be honest. 1/4 inch is, for practice, especially for practice, what's nice about 1/4 inch is it heats up quickly. You don't have to do a lot of extra work. The downside to 1/4 inches is it cools down quickly. You have limited number of errors available to you. Had I been paying attention better to this piece, by the way, this was easily 1 heat. Easily 1 heat. That's something else you ought to think about. So I'm going to put this piece up where I marked it. Oh, that's way off. I'm tilting it to connect my dots, but what I'll do is I'll turn it and straighten it out. There we go. I don't know that it matters how you cut these off. I mean, you could probably just do this, go over and hit it with a cutoff wheel, let it cool down if you're going to hit it with a bandsaw. I don't know that that matters at all. But this time I'm going to save them So there's my square taper. Let me get a better grip on this. Maybe. There's my square taper. And then I'll just do a 1/8 inch hole through there at the end. And then I'll put it on like a little keychain thing. 3/8, yeah. I don't have a lot of 3/8, that's why I'm using 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna put this over here, right where it should be, where I should be able to find it. And I'll go on to the round tape, the octagon taper. Right. Why am I doing the octagon taper first? Because it's square, octagon, round. So that's the way I'm going to present it. I don't know that it matters. That's just the way I'm going to do it because square, octagon, round. But it's the same thing. You're gonna create a square taper. And you're gonna take the corners off to an octagon. Try to keep everything straight and crisp. Yeah, I mean, I think 1/2 inches is probably as big as I would go for this. I wouldn't be trying to turn in like 5/8. It's just more work for yourself than is necessary for a little piece. So, and then by the square ring, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of welding rod that I've got somewhere right here. All I'm going to do with this is bend this into probably a 2-inch ring, not welded together, just a 2-inch ring that comes together kind of, and then I can open it up just enough to slip these on. I think that's 1/8 inch. Looks like 1/8 inch. I think it's tight. This one does not. I'm pretty sure it's 1/8 inch though. And don't turn in a burnt piece. If you brought me a burnt piece, I would immediately reject it. Be like, I appreciate it, but no, bro. Now, I would say from the curriculum standpoint, it seems like they've lowered the, I don't know how to say, they've lowered the expectations a little bit. I don't necessarily know. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, you gotta have some standards. And some of the stuff I've seen, like, I don't know that I would have passed that. Okay. Oh, hit the anvil. Don't do that. So I'm just trying to get my forge lines about the same. Not quite square. There we go. Okay, so I got square taper. Now I'm just going to take these corners off. And you can do that at your feet. But that is not an octagon taper. But it's a start. Yeah, and I don't, again, when it comes to those standards, I get it, but at the same time, there are some things about it that I'm like, No, I mean, like I've seen people turn in things with big nasty hollows in the sides of stuff and big lumpy bumpy things, and I'm just like, man, I get it, but at the same time, what are you saying to people allowing that to pass? You could send somebody back and say, clean your shit up, dude. That looks like a first grader hit that. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with promoting clean work. And this is, I hear people a lot of times talk about traditional, and then they use that as an excuse to turn in lumpy, bumpy, junky work. And I just think it's a disservice in general. Oh, you know what I just did? I wasn't thinking. I mean, that's okay. I'll do the octagon next. I just basically created the diamond. Yeah, well, when you get into traditional, and that's the thing, right? Okay, I think most people, when they say traditional, I think what they're referring to is like, you know, probably 19th century work for the most part. And in America, we immediately go to the settler and you know, or the pioneers, and that is our view of what that is. And for whatever reason, people seem to not quite understand that that was not the pinnacle of blacksmithing at all. Like, not even by a damn sight. Those people were trying to get by. You know, beauty was not really what they were after. They were after survivability. Like, this is going to keep our doors shut. This is going to allow us to lock this little box so the savages can't come and steal our stuff unless they take the whole box. You know, they didn't really care too much about finesse. However, you go to England, or if you go to, hell, even the East Coast, you'll see they were very much more particular about, this has got a bend in it I need to fix, but if you look, if it'll focus, and this is a longer taper than I meant to do for the diamond taper, but that's essentially all as it is. So, but see what with the diamond taper, for me, I want to see the leading top it. What I'll probably do is extend this to meet the same length here. So I might just cut this one off and do it again later. I don't know why. I don't know why I started the diamond. I wasn't thinking, but the points, I want to see the points all terminate, and it's they don't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for perfect. If it were me grading, I'm not looking for perfect, but I'm looking for close. I want to see those points terminate in close to the same range. So like this one right here is a good, oh, I'm going to say that's a good 1/8 inch off. I would prefer to see less than 1/16 of an inch off. You know, they can be off, but I don't want to see an 1/8 of an inch off. You know, that's just me. That's just me. Now, and I do believe that when you're certified as an instructor, they have a guideline for grading. And it's not that you wouldn't pass necessarily either. I mean, that would be the next thing, right? Okay, it's like, okay, well, that might be acceptable in a passing grade. But I think it would be a disservice to the quote-unquote student to not point that out and say, hey, you're going to pass because, you know, we're not going to count that as against you. But that's something that you need to be going into level 2 and definitely level 3. These are things that will get you failed. So be mindful of that going forward. You know, as you step into the next realm, you know, you're not going to be able to turn in something like that. You know, and that I think it would be fine. But I don't know that they're even saying that, to be honest. I probably shouldn't be walking over here and getting my drink in my hand. One of these days, I'll get smart and get a lid so I can keep my drink closer. Oh, definitely. If all the facets are equal, the points should all in the center. Should all, yeah, I mean, like without a doubt. Actually, you know what I can do? Because this is longer than I want for my diamond anyways, I'll just make this round. This is where I get into trouble. When I start rounding something up, and if I want it round, I obsess over it, and I have to tell myself to stop. And I don't like using a file, if I can help it. Use calipers for grading, however, he did mention that the standards are subjective. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind rules. I just want to know what the rules are up front. But when you're doing a round taper like this, for instance, I mean, it still needs to be cleaned up. When you do a round taper like this, for instance, when I look down the sides, I don't want to see a bunch of hollows, you know, valleys in there. And I am not really seeing anything in here. To be honest, if I would rather see a couple of high points over a bunch of low points, because high points are easy to take care of, be it with a file, a rasp, hammer. But when you've got a hollow, that's a lot harder to deal with. And when you have a hollow, that usually indicates a couple of things. One, your piece wasn't forged equally on all sides before you started it to go around. You weren't hot enough, or two, you weren't hitting hard enough. And two and three kind of go hand in hand a lot of times. Like generally, you'll see people come out not hot enough, and they're usually not hitting hard enough either. But if you don't have equal facets on all sides and you go to forge that in a round, the higher sides will kind of roll over and you'll get that cratering effect too. So all I'm trying to do now is clean this up. relatively happy with that. Oh, I forgot to mark this one. That's okay. I don't think that matters. That was just mine, a me thing. But it's not perfect, and I'm okay with that. It's close though. It's probably really hard to see any of these facets on this camera, but I'll do what I can. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to make each end of this terminate in roughly the same spot. I'm presenting, so here's the other thing, right? I'm presenting this to Mark Asbury. I want it to look good. So that's why I'm fussing over it. But my talking points still remain true in my opinion. Where if you're presenting this to somebody to be graded, do the best you can. Or, you know, at least maybe not even have to do your best. You want to get it done, but you also want to put your best foot forward, right? You know, you're letting somebody else grade this. So it should be, you know, in my opinion, it should look pretty good. Just my opinion. You know, it's back to the pretty tools thing, right? You know, yes, I get, like, my power hammer tools are not pretty at all. I mean, there's nothing pretty about these. Well, I mean, this is probably not a great example. Overall, power hammer tools wise, this one's actually kind of pretty. But, I mean, it's not, and here's why I don't care about my power hammer tools being pretty. They're gonna get destroyed. They're gonna get destroyed. I just need it to do the thing. Right? I don't need them to be pretty. I need them to do the thing. And I'm sure a lot of blacksmiths feel that way about their hand tools. But the way I look at the hand tools are, that's something I'm using and looking at a lot. It's at my anvil when I'm doing demonstrations. That's something that people are going to see. It's kind of, in a way, it represents my work. So I want them to see a good looking hammer when I'm forging. You know, I want them to see a good looking bottom tool. I want them to see good looking tongs. You know, I don't know. It's just me. If you're ever at an event, a blacksmithing event, and you've got your station set up, and I almost guarantee any of the Brazil nuts walk by your stuff, they will start examining, and I can guarantee you, they are judging your tools. They will say they are not judging your tools. They are judging your tools. Because I can't tell you how many times I've had Mark Lang and Andrew Larson, Jonathan Pinkston, all of those guys come over and grab a tool out of my thing and they're examining it. And they're not just examining the work on the tool, they're also looking at how you maintain the tool. Because there's a couple of times where Mark has walked by. I've got a lot of tools that Mark made, and he's walked by and looked at them, and he didn't say anything, but I could tell he was thinking, this dude doesn't take care of his tools. And I don't. I'm pretty careful with that. So I didn't mark this one, so I think, I don't know, that looks good. I'm gonna roll with that. Again, off. You would think I wouldn't suck that. I hate cutting square. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I mean, it's some round paper. So I'm leaving the parent bar, enough of the parent bar so that you can see what I use. to do it. And also I wanted to put it in like a little chain thing, you know, like I said, a ring or a keychain type thing. Presentation wise. And I don't know. It's did I miss anything? No. All right. Hey, the smoke is mostly cleared out, so I'm gonna close this door. Let's see. Oh, chisel point paper. I'll do that. Oh, it's tasty tea. Tasty. Chisel point taper. It's like a ribbon taper, I think. So it's just 180 essentially. Keeping it in line. So on this, I want to see that taper even from the start to the base. I don't want to see a wedge. I want to see a true taper. And I currently have a slight wedge high here, so I'm gonna bring this down. Not bad. Not bad at all. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. I want it straight too. Imagine that. All right, that chisel point taper. Hard to see, I guess. I don't know how to really deal with that. Yeah, I do. I know how to deal with that. There. So, that's the chisel point. And the idea here is I want that taper to be the same going down. I don't want a wedge. And I want to keep the thickness the same going down, so the taper is only in this plane. But I don't know, and it's not a big deal, I don't know if they want you to take those corners down or not, and I'm not going to. I prefer to leave them crisp on this, because I think it accentuates what's going on. Hang on, I gotta... No, I can answer that later. Let me cut this off. I did not measure this one either, because, you know, Rob is Rob, and he sometimes a dodo. But to the point, you know, I mean, it's nothing, it should be out of the realm of doability. I mean, to be honest, any of these tapers, if you struggle with any of these tapers, you really shouldn't be trying to do anything else, because these are all fundamental to forging. Every one of these tapers you will have to do at some point or another in almost any forging project. Now, if you're just like getting things hot and bending it into weird shapes, okay, you got me there. But in terms of just actually, you know, almost any project will have one of these tapers in it, if not a couple. Any scroll work, a square, round, and chisel point taper are all probably going to be something that you're going to be forced to deal with at some point. So these are just simple things. And you notice, I'm not trying to do these in a rush. I know I can knock out most of these tapers in one heat. I'm more interested in making them look good. Let's try this. Tone. So there's the chisel point. You've been relatively lucky on these cuts. They're all relatively the same. For not measuring anything. Okay, what I gotta do now, I gotta, octagon. So, those would be the tapers. What am I gonna do after? What do I need to do after that? A forged staple, forged S-hook, forged leaf. If I recall, the S-hook was 8 inches of 3/8. With 1 inch, you know, for the eye of the hook, I guess. Might have to go buy some 3/8. Oh, wait a minute, no. I should go measure it. I'll do that now. Okay. Octagon? I think this heat is mostly going to be just cleaning up my lines. Don't make another damn diamond. You know, I would say for me, out of all the tapers, this is probably the hardest because I don't typically do octagon. Yes, I octagon it up when I'm rounding, but the way I do it is very different than most. So I don't stop and just like take it to octagon. I roll it in. It's referred, for whatever reason, Brian calls it a hex roll. I don't know why, but, or the unicorn roll, as my friend Jacques, very much in love with that technique. But it's really an octagon roll, I guess. I think that might be it. Hard to see at this heat what my lines look like. So. Not bad. Little crooked there. So what am I fussing over here? I'm trying to get my line straight. That's it. So it's essentially done. But I was just trying to get those lines straight. There was a couple. They're still not perfect. I think that's plenty. Based off of what I've seen, that's plenty. I'm not going to fuss over it too much because I think it looks good. Oh, I say that now. I say that now. I'll be looking at this thing later and going, oh, why did you do that? So, I mean, all right. All right, good. Octagon. Enter the octagon. You know that Chuck Norris movie? The Octagon? I think it was. I think it was. Hey, and we have not exceeded the buffer cache at all since I started this. So it must have just been a weird fluke that night. I don't know. I was worried that something happened to the device that I use and I was going to have to send it back and get a new one or buy something completely different. But that does not look to be the case. So far, so good. Been doing this for an hour and change now. What's the last one? I got square, round, chisel, octagon, diamond. I gotta do the diamond next. And there we go. It's gonna look round to you guys, I'm sure. It's octagon. Oh. You're all still relatively the same size. I don't have, watching a stream yesterday on, what was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. A gentleman in Czech Republic somewhere, and he was, he was in production mode churning out hooks, and they all look great, and all pretty much look the same. I mean, I think he said he's been doing it 17, 18 years, and you can tell. Dude's got some skills. What was really interesting too is Alfred Haberman is from Czech Republic as well. He was born there, but he spent most of his career in Austria. But you can see that area of the world's influence very clearly. When I was watching him, he was doing a lot of things that Brian Brazil teaches, and you could see where Brian had probably picked those things up. And I don't know that Brian's ever claimed otherwise, you know. I mean, it was one of the things that I really admire about Brian is when he sees something that's subjectively better, I guess we could say, more efficient, when he sees more efficient approaches, or things that garner more accurate work, he incorporates it into his style. And just by watching that guy yesterday, and it was pretty evident. Well, I don't know why I shoved that all the way in there. It was pretty evident. He was like, typically what you see in America when somebody's punching something or whatever is they'll put the tool down and they'll just start wailing on it. We don't punch like that. We don't chisel like that. We don't do nothing like that. We don't bear tool steel on the material if we can help it. You hit it, pull it off and look. Hit it, pull it off and look. And he was doing that every time. I noticed that. It was something I noticed right away. He stands at the anvil, mostly like I do, but he's also the same way. You want to be able to get around your anvil and work. It's a tool. Every surface is available to you. So, diamond paper. Okay. So, we're just going to start with square table. Square paper, Rob. Square. Square. Scale. Okay. I want to keep this taper a little shorter this time. The scale got me. Well, I really should not eat lunch and then come out and do this. It is not favorable. Man, I mean, I'm fat ass anyways, but damn. This is not a flattering view. Sorry, ladies. I'm taking. Okay, now we're just going to take these corners. It's not straight, but it's essentially what I want. Essentially, it's not 100% there. It could use a little refining, but that's the diamond shape-ish that we're going for. But if you turn it, it's square. It's 45 degrees to the parent stock. Is all it is. But at this point, it's there. It's just refining it. Kind of like what am I thinking of? Like a pencil, I guess, in a way. I'm brushing it because it's a little easier to see when there's not a bunch of scale on it. So I want, that one's way off. I'm gonna, ooh, this is getting hot. This is getting hot. I'm gonna cool this off real quick. But I just want my facets to line up, you know, and be in the same plane. They're not quite right now. It kind of looks like an equalizer. I got, you know, on those four sides. So I'm just going to extend that a little bit to make them match. And I have found the easiest way to do that is along the edge, so you're not forging over here if you don't need to. I like it. Just need to get it straight. Holding it straight helps, which always not. Okay. Put that off. I think that's it for these. And then I will, what do I do with that? There it is. There it is. I want that. I'll keep it up. Diamond tape. Done. Alright, now I don't need this right now. I'm gonna let it cool down. I do need this, and I need tongs that will hold this. I think these might be too big. Let me see what I can do with my hand. That's plenty big enough for me. still warm. I'm good hot. It's kind of cool if I can hold on to these phone down there. This is gonna be fun without the right tongs. I am getting an early start today. I don't really have tongs to hold this, but and it needs some refinement. Nice thing is though, when you heat this stuff up, when you heat this stuff up, it's really easy to bend. So I could, in theory, just heat it up and let it cool, and then bend it, and then heat it back up and then quench it, and that would stiffen it up. But I'm gonna try it with these scrolling tongs and see if I can get a little bit more on there. Don't have a, oh, never mind. I found some tin or some vice grips. There we go. That's the word. These will work. These will work. I'm not working on the candlestick thing though. I gotta see if I've got that material laying around. I think I do, but I don't know 100%. That's all I need to do. I mean, a little more refinement than that. That's really that's really all I'm going to do. Is I just rounded it up, and then I'll close these up a little bit more. And then I'll drill those pieces, and then they'll just pass through on here, and I got like a little keychain keeper for them. That was something I learned in I mean, it's obvious, right? But it's something I learned in a Roy Adams class. That was a pretty nifty trick. I'm going to heat it up though. That way when I go to close it up a little bit better, it'll be a little easier. So I was working on, you'll love this. So I was working on the Urbana curriculum. Because it's funny, I got Kurt Fehrenbach's group doing the Urbana curriculums, that's the diamond taper. I got them working on that. That was something Paul and I had discussed last year coming back from Louisiana. I was like, man, I'd really like to do that as a group. I think that'd be a really cool project to do. And he agreed, and we started researching it and figuring out what it would take and then gauging interest on their side. And it worked out. The thing is when we started it, I had a lot of other things going on at the time. So I fell way behind, and then the pieces that I was working on, like the gate latch, I have no idea where they're at. I have some of the stuff, but I think I'm just going to do everything. So first of all, I came out here solely for the purpose of figuring out what was going on with my stream last week, or Wednesday. not that I figured it out, but it's not doing it now, so I should be okay, I think. But then I was like, well, I'm right here, I might as well just keep going. So I've done all the tapers. So there's a square taper, round taper, octagon, chisel point, and diamond. And that's the round. So all of them are about the same size. What I'll do is I'll drill an 1/8 inch hole on the ends of these, and then I'll use that ring I just did, and then put all these on that ring. I'll put a finish on these later, but I'll get them drilled first and do all that fancy stuff. So that's what I was working on. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I need to look. It said staple, I think, and an S hook. And I'm just going off this checklist, so it doesn't tell you. I want to say the S hook was 8 inches of 3/8 with 1 inch eyes on the hook end. That in my brain sounds right. And then there's a leaf. Hey, Dabaka. There's a leaf. So I guess I could forge the leaf next. I don't know. I don't know. I think they're very particular about the leaf. Like, what kind of leaf are we talking about here? So I will do a quote unquote chiseled leaf, I guess, using this 1/2 inch round, or square bar. That's what I've got out right now. And if that's not right, I'll just deal with it later. So I guess I'm going to make a leaf. Oh, get off there. So yeah, I guess I'm going to do something exciting like make a leaf. I'm going to go grab my drink. Yeah, I'm just rolling with one camera too. I just have one camera with a boom mic on it. Done. Showing off the post-lunch gut. It's always there. It's just a lot easier to suck in when I haven't been eating. So I guess a leaf. I'll do a leaf. I need to see if the material I have over there is 3/8. I think it is. And then I'll cut some of that out and do the staple. And there was something else in there. Staple S-hook leaf. Oh, okay. A handheld round punch 1/4 inch. All right. Make one of those. Yes. I think I'll make one of those. Let me check this grain situation real quick. Definitely range. So, a leaf, yeah. I need to make, I guess, a chisel. That's okay. Hey, hey, get out of there. There's a rock in the fire. It's going off. Get out of here. All right. I want a relatively short taper. Oh, oh. These Abana guys, I don't know how they do their leaves. I should have looked at that, I guess. I won't do a fuller's leaf though, because, well, they don't appreciate fine awesomeness. I'm pretty sure they chiseled the leaf, so I'll try to stick to that motif without burning off my tip. That's one of the hardest parts about a leaf, in my opinion. Getting it to a point, but not so pointy that it just evaporates in the fire. And then maintaining your point so that you don't lose it in the fire. So I'm gonna put about that much out. I think that's gonna be good. Well, I guess it's gonna be that much now. Where I'm at with that. No anvil cam, I'm sorry. Oh, the shoulders are relatively the same, not perfect. There's a bad hit in there, but I think I can work around that. I think I can work around that. Oh, piece of steel up there. I think I can work around it. So my bar was getting hot earlier. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the can, but you can't do that with a can. Cans are nice when you're trying to, like, you know, don't ever do that over your forge, by the way, if you're using cast iron. Great way to crack your table or your pot. Use a rag. But the nice thing with the rag is you can lay it across your bar. By the way, we were doing this a couple nights ago in the gas forge as well. You can put that over the bar. It helps prevent the heat from traveling down the bar, so you can still use your hands to hold it instead of having to find tongs. I don't know that I necessarily need it for this piece right now, but shoulders up. So there's a shoulder right there and right there. So that means I'll come over here and I don't know, right about there. I'll set down, shoulders up. So I'm about, I don't know, 1.1/8 away from the edge, getting it over the, I'll get there in this heat. Should be able to get there in this heat. But I want to get that stem across the anvil. Makes everything else a lot easier. I can see myself. So the forge mop trick across the bar works great if you don't have one. Another thing you could do if you're working coal is keep wet, or you don't have to be wet, but you can keep green coal on top of it. What that does is it closes off the dragon's breath essentially coming out of there. So a lot of times you'll have fire coming up. What's happening is that flame is whipping across your bar and then going up. So you can push that coal and create like a fire dam and greatly reduce that too. You don't have, I suggest everybody have a forge mop if you can get one. And they're easy to make, pretty nice to have. And we're across. Ta-da! Yeah, forge mop is pretty nice. The cup, I have a problem with the cup. You're limited to what you can do with the cup. I would never hover one of those soup cans over a cast iron forge. You're asking for trouble. Get a forge mop. Most forge, not all, I guess the rivet forges don't have them, but like my table, it's got a section where you can segregate your coal a little bit. A little coal bin on the side. And what you could do is in that coal bin, wet that down if you're trying to wet your coal, and then you take it from there over. All right, I'm going to work on rounding this up. I want more heat in the shoulder though. So I'm gonna try and get just that part of it in the fire. Yeah, I was at the state fair a few years ago. They have a monthly IBA meeting, Indiana Blacksmith Association meeting there. And one of the guys, he was pouring water, I think, on the coal. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but somehow he dumped a good portion of that water right down into the fire pot, and it created a gas plume inside, like and it exploded. And it sounded like a shotgun went off in there. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Nothing was wrong with the forge or the fire pot. But there, what could have been? Let me get this a little hotter. I'm gonna use the vise
on these shoulders. Just to kind of, it's a little easier. I don't know if I can do it on that much, to be honest. I'm gonna have to go to the other. I'll try. How well I don't have to go for it. You just have to clean it up. So you run, that way you don't run the risk of hitting it with your hammer, which I'm going to do anyway. All right, good enough. Leave the timer. Now you gotta be careful not to burn your stem off. I'm gonna walk away and get a few pieces of jerky tea, because that's what you should do when you put these in there. That's thin. I need a tea machine, like, you know, iced tea maker. I can just go over there like a big jug and just fill it up. All right. Oh, making a leaf. Here we go. Oh, there they are. Come on, man. All right, so that's where I'm at. I'm leaving it thick. I'm taking this slow. I'm gonna switch to the cross beam, but I wanted to pull these lobes down a little bit more. And I think I'll continue using my rounding hammer for that, or switch to a ball peen. It might be the play, but I want to show you. I don't need to. I can use this. I'm gonna put a glove on that because that bar is getting out of gear. Because I'm not putting my rag on it. Lost my light. Not much I can do about that right now. Battery. Which means that one's going to go soon too. That is fine. That's just essentially me goofing off. But I can turn this off. Maybe. Oh, come on, man. Oh, Jesus. Thing is not off. My goodness. Stiff. Alright. I am going to switch to a cross beam now. Get ball peen. I'm going to ball peen next. I like a ball peening in the shoulders because it allows me to really pull. I got it. Yeah, squared, flat. Gonna require a little work. Cigar is giving up the ghost. I got a little thin right there, so I'm going to pull this, try to match it. Best I can. It's not how I typically do a leaf. I might have to watch a video. A lot better though. If this is thinner than this side, I gotta fix that. We'll make it work. It's ugly. That is farting ugly. Quantum gravy. Just walking through the Urbana curriculum stuff, making a leaf. In a way, I normally do not make a leaf, but I think this was the way they do it. I probably should have read before I started this one to get a better idea for what they do and how they do it. This is not my typical approach. This right here needs to get moved over significantly. Okay. So I'm just trying to fix an issue here. And under normal circumstances, I'd cut this off and start over. But I'm gonna see if I can fix it. A lot better than it was. Still ugly. This lobe, I pinched it. I'm not sure if I can get that back. We'll see. We'll see. It's really thin, so pushing that back right now is going to be tricky. I'm going to try to cool this off. Actually, that's just bolting. I'll do that on this side too, so at least we're kind of equal footing here. It's flat on one side and rounded on the other, which I don't like. Looks more like a shovel. But I was able to push that back in a little bit, so might be able to fix it. We'll see. It's also really thin, so it'll be kind of babysitting. I'm gonna try and use my rounding hammer and see if I can push that out more round this way. Well, it's a lot better than it was, that's for sure. Yeah, a leaf, an S-hook, and a staple, I think is what it was. Those are the other things I want to work on. Make sure I'm not ignoring anybody. So does it, it's still not quite round, but the problem I'm having is, see, this is something I should have fixed a long time ago, and I let it kind of get away from me. And now the problem is a lack of material to pull down where I want it, but that's infinitely better than it was. Infinitely better than it was. There's a lot of things you could do to fix that. I mean, you could take a file to it, you can grind it, rasp it. I prefer, anytime I'm working at the forge and with my anvil and hammer, I really try to do as much as I can with the hammer versus other methods. I'm not saying any of those other methods are not valid. They are very valid, especially if you're trying to product, a production type thing, right? I'm not doing that here. So for me, it's more of a challenge of, can I fix this without those other things? I think I can. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's a lot closer than it was. How did that get done? But it's a lot better than it was. A lot better. I don't like. I don't like this corner though. It's right here. Right here. I don't like that corner. It's a little longer and it's squared off. I don't like that, but that's not bad. Like this is not a leaf style I typically do. My leaves are, I refer to them as a fullered leaf. I don't know if I have an example of one, but I refer to them as a fullered leaf. A little bit different. Let me get that out of the fire. Let me see if I can find them. Oh, I think. Maybe I just do one. Here. This is a good, it's not a great example, but it shows vastly the vast difference in the way that they're done. So this is not a good example, but that's more the styling that I go for when I do a lead. Anyway, I'm going to put this down and contemplate my life, and I will do another one with a different one. And then I need to find some 3/8. And I still need to locate some inch by quarter, I think that's what it was, or something else I want to do next week. The next week I'm going to do, no, it's not queued up. Let me try. Picture, where are you? Still. Oh, no, that's not it. I've got a picture on here. I need to get it to where I can switch to it. But it's a 14th century candlestick holder, is what I was told it is. And it's actually part of a 20-minute challenge. So you have to forge this thing to this particular spec in 20 minutes. And that does not, or that includes the heating time for the first heat, which I think is kind of strange, but whatever. You know, usually you get your piece hot and then your first hammer blow and it's go. But this is starting cold. Well, thank you. It's a style that I picked up from Brian Brazil. So it's not my thing. Each individual leaf that you do is your thing, but the style itself I got from Brian. Brian probably picked it up from somewhere else as well. But I always try to give him credit where I can. Brian Brazil's my primary mentor. Ed Brazil would be the next in line. And then there's folks like Roy Adams I've taken some classes with. And then just other guys that I watch and work with. Mark Ling, Andrew Larson, Jonathan Pinkston. Worked with all those guys. They're all great guys. I struggle with calling them kids, even though at my age they are young men, very young men. They're not kids though. They're all, hell, I think they're all married now. I think Jonathan might not be married yet. I think that changes in a couple months. But anyways, yeah, those are my, I come from a group that is commonly referred to as the Brazil nuts, or if you're Roy Adams, Roy, he likes to call us cheek spreaders because we spread the cheeks on our tools. So, all right, well, what the hell was I making? Oh, another leaf. I'll do a foliage leaf. How about that? I'm gonna switch hammers there. I want a relatively short taper. Get on there. And I don't try to take the point too pointy. clean up those shoulders. I won't carry it away. Uno people on the Twitch, 2 on the YouTube, and nada on the Facebooks. I'm not running the forge very high. I could stand to kick this up a notch, but I like to burn stuff. I'm trying, man, I'm trying. Oh. Almost across. Shoulder. Gonna need some work. So yeah, fun stuff. Facebook here. Painting small parts with the airbrush. What's funny is people will always ask me, hey, you gonna paint this? You gonna paint that? Hell no. Rob does not paint. I get it though. We're not quite across the angle yet, but I suspect I can get it with this heat. And we're across. So when you want to, this is kind of a disclaimer, but when you want to round this up, it's easiest, most efficient to get this across your anvil. Now, if you've got a German patterned anvil like I've got, you could come out on the square horn and do this, but I still strive to get it across the face of my anvil. So when you go to round this up, if you're not across the anvil and you're trying to do this, your shoulders are going to be in your way. And if you have a shoulder down, that creates an air gap. And if you hit there, it's just going to bend it. You don't want a gap under your material unless you're trying to straighten it, right? So you get your piece across the anvil, you can straighten it, flatten it, then you can start taking the corners off all in one fell swoop, round it up, and you're not flexing the piece on every hit. You shouldn't be. That flexing, especially when you have a lump of mass out on the end and this is flexing, you see where that's going? It's eventually going somewhere over there. So it's something you want to try to avoid. So I'm going to take this kind of round. You just take the corners off. I'm not going for perfection here. I almost screwed that word up twice. When I do a leaf, I don't like it perfectly round. In fact, I'll intentionally put it over my horn later and add some facets to it, some lumpy bumpies to it. I mean, don't get crazy, but you know, I just don't want it to be perfectly round and shiny. You know, how many stems do you see that look like that in real life? Not that this looks anything like our natural leaf, but I mean, if you're going for, you know, the look of a representation, you know, do what you can. So that's about all the more round I'm going to take that right now. It's plenty. I'll flatten it out. But later what I typically do is I'll put it over the horn and just give it light hits up and down the stem to kind of create a little bit of lumpy bumpy. But again, don't get carried away. And then the back end of the stem, I will taper out much thinner later. And I'll keep it fairly pristine because when I go to roll it up, you want that as even as you can get it. Otherwise, when you try to scroll that up, it's not going to scroll up as well or as nicely as you would want it to. Diamond up, and I am not crushing it. I'm watching it. So if I need to adjust my blow, I can do that and try to keep it the same all the way through. I switched to the flat face that allows me to go with a little more gusto without being crazy. So that's about as thick as it needs to be. I'll straighten it up though. That's another thing. If you want to straighten this, being able to get across your anvil like this and support that whole stem allows you to straighten it up a lot easier. So I'm going to need a fork for this. That's really all I need. And when I do this the first pass, I don't get it screaming hot. I just get it hot. And you'll see why here in a second. I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to try my best to get this right in the middle and hit it lightly. And then do the same thing. I'm going to get into that groove, try to stay in the center, walk it up. Without my light, I'm casting a big old shadow. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to walk this up. I want this as straight as I can get it, so I'm not in a big hurry. And as light provides and skill provides and experience, this goes pretty quick. I'm struggling because I'm casting a shadow over my line, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. You don't hit super hard. You just want to leave a small impression because if you hit too hard, it's really difficult to fix it. And I don't go all the way to the end. I just get really close. And then what I'll do is I'll just come back and check this a little deeper because I like the line that I've got. And then I'll get it hot and then really set that line down. So I veered off just a little bit towards the tip, but I'm going to leave that alone. And I'll bring this over here so you can see. I think you can see it. Yeah. Now, is the other way quote unquote faster? Sure, I'll give you that. I will give you that. It is probably faster. But even when you're chiseling those lines in, you still want to take the time and walk it slowly and get it where you want it, get it where you need it. I'm going to find the battery cover thingy. What is called? Power cords. That's it. Find a power cord. I can plug that light in before it dies. Oh. Go. Slap in. It says it's at 100%. That's not right. That's the brightness is at 100%. The battery was not at 100%. Okay, again, not screeching hot right now. I'm not worried about, because I can barely see it, but I can feel for it. So when I get in there, I know I'm in the line, but I'm still not deep enough that it's going to guide this fuller all the way. So I want to take small bites and get that down and let the original line guide me. I can see it now. So now I can come back and hit a little harder. There we go. Now that'll be easy to find. Easier to find. And then I'll come over. I'll just try to show it after each heat. But I want to go much deeper, so this time I'm going to get it hot. You'd think I'd have a rake over here. Get my hands like a heathen. How long have I been doing this? 2 hours and 20 minutes. Almost burnt that. I don't even know where my brush went. That's okay. So now I'm confident that I'm in the line. I can feel it. But I still want to stay away from the tip. I'm not, that's usually like the last thing I go for. I got, oh, there's my brush. Let me brush it off. So now I got that a lot deeper now. Now I can do the angled doodads. Angled doodads. What does we call it? Veins. Lateral veins, angled veins, doodads, right? Doodads. So the ones up front, take this out of the way. The ones up at the top, near the top, you got a hook down there, got me use it. The ones near the top are almost vertical, or that's the way I like to do them. So I usually only do 3 hits, or 3 of these marks. So this one, I try to get them about the same. So I'm not going to hit super hard. I'm going to look at it and go, now that could be a little more this way. Alright, that's better. This one needs to, I could probably drop it down, match. There we go. Go. And the next one, what is that? Off of there. I'm going to angle a little bit more. Make sure I've got room. Don't crowd myself. And again, I'm not going to hit it really hard, but I'm going to put a little more heat into it. I'll show you. It's going to be probably not going to be able to see that very well, but They are there. I got one more row to do, but I want to save it for last. Get the top two defined a little bit better, then I'll go down to the next one. Then I'll set the depth on them a bit more. All right, for me, I found that taking your time on these taking your time on anything really makes a huge difference. I'm going to brush it this time because there was some gunk on it before, and I don't want in there. Yeah, just take your time. Feel your mark. I mean, don't crush it right away. Just develop that line. Take your time and develop it. So that one's a little off, so I'm going to try to turn it. If I were to have done that early, if I'd gone too deep, there's no way I'd be able to fix that. That's a lot better. Now I'm going to hit this last one, which is almost vertical, not quite, or horizontal. Of course, that looks pretty horizontal. I could use a little extra oomph. There we go. So that's where that's at now. I'm gonna get it high, and then I'll take those deeper, and then it's just back and forth really. Take it as far as you want. You don't want to make it super sharp or anything. I am thirsty though, I will tell you that. Alright. So, I'm going to come back to these middle ones. And the top one. Trying to stay in the line. You can feel it. I'm going to take one more heat for these top guys and the bottom. Oh, yeah, move here. And then we're almost done. And then I'll go through the middle again. And you can take these really almost as far as you want. And just be cognizant that they can get sharp. They can most definitely get sharp. And keep an eye on it when it's in the fire because it's starting to get thin. So it'd be easy to burn. So this time, I'm going to the bottom this time because it's the least developed. And again, I can feel it. Get in there. Now I'm going to start hitting a little half on, half off here. And the same here. Half on, half off. And the same up here. It's a little cold though. When you start getting cold like that and you start doing those kinds of hits, you gotta be careful because you can't split it. All right, that's where I'm at with that. The next heat I'll get it hot and go down the center. Okay. I guess I could look in the camera. Did you guys see that? There we go. This is definitely not my best looking one. And honestly, these don't start looking good until the very end, and I'm gonna have to go outside to do that. My stump is outside. All right, so now, wrong side. So now I'm gonna come back down the middle and redefine my center line. And it's the same thing. Make sure you're not overstepping or anything. Kind of go soft at first. Now I'm going to walk it up towards the middle, or the tip. And then back here, I'm going to hit a little harder. All right, so now it's been going back over. I might go over these all one more time. All right, don't get it really, really hot. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and brush it. I'm going to start at the tip because it's got heat and I don't want it to split later doing this. There we go. And I'm just going to start walking it back. And I'll hit this, this, this. Go back down the center one more time. Right, there we go. And my moronic dogs are barking at probably the equal time. Alright, so this time, let me get it ready. I need a ball peen hammer. And I have to go out in the rain because my stump's out there. But the good news is the stump won't. I'm inspired to make a bunch of leaves. I haven't done very many in my life, but I've always kind of wanted to weld them together in a tree-like thing. Yeah, man. We do a very similar thing. I don't have. I have a sculpture thing I did last year. It's just 4 elements, but you can keep stacking them as you go. And you get some cool results. All right, I'm gonna take this outside real quick. And I think this step is what really makes it look good. So right now I need to bend it back another way real quick, but not much. Really, it's just the tip. Ugh, bunch of clinker in here apparently. piece of junk on there. It's on the back. Oh, it came right off. As soon as I started complaining about it. Oh, yeah, that's not too heavy. So, let me put it at an angle. All right, you see a little better that way. Oh, you just go this way. Everything's backwards. Anyways, there's that. Now I need to separate it from the bar. Yeah, I don't have that sculptor. I don't have the sculpture out here. Otherwise, I'd show it to you. It's in the house. Wait, I might be able to. Oh, this is my iPhone, my work iPhone. So I don't really. All I have is a browser on there. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's on Indiana Blacksmith Room. Gallery. It is not. Trust me when I say. So I need to bring this down a little bit more. That up. Could be a little longer. Mr. Corey, how are you? I don't know who a Hody is, but are you calling me names? I don't know. I seriously doubt that the Abandoned Org would allow this style of leaf, but they said leaf. It's a leaf, right? So I want to extend this taper a little bit more. And then take this down a little bit more. And then I'll round this back up. Actually, I think I'm going to pull that out a little bit more. Because, you know, why not? Why the hell not? Yeah, that flux spoon handle. Oh, lordy, lordy. They say, I mean, they give an example, but I mean, nowhere have I read it says it has to be made exactly like that. It just says forge welded flux spoon. So my thought to that was forge welding a piece of 3/4 inch over onto itself to extend the mass on the spoon end. And then it's still essentially a one-piece spoon, but it was forge welded. I'll probably do both though, just in case, because I don't want to be. I am that guy. That's okay. I'm okay with being that guy. But I want to take this Johnstown with me and give it to Mark Asbury. And have him sign off on it as best I can. He kind of just waved his hand at Dan Borowski when he took his to the IBA conference and said, "Oh, you're one of Kurt's guys. Well, Kurt can do it." I'm not even pretending I know. I'm like, Kurt? Kurt? Who's that? I don't know a Kurt. Boom! Look at that power. You know what was really funny about that? Yoink. I ain't ready for that step yet. I was all excited too. You big dummy. Now I do want a relatively good round down here. Because this is going to get scrolled up, and the better even your taper is, the better the scroll will end up. So I'll probably take one more heat on rounding that end up just to get it there. But forge welded a piece of sheet metal. I mean, I'm willing to do it however they think it should be done, but I think if you present a superior product, then that should be just as acceptable. Like, I would be willing to fight those fights on a couple of those pieces. And it's like, well, I mean, sure, I guess, but I can tell you right now, mine will last longer, and here's why. All right, now I'm ready to smack it. I could probably do that now, but I'd rather it be hot, just so I don't shear it off. I don't think I need this in the way right now. While that's not screaming hot, it's hot enough for what I want to do. And then some scrolling tongs, I guess. I lost it. That's okay. That's okay. Just have to do it the hard way now. Oh, my gloves are... That's one way to get it off the bar, by the way. So, pre-plasma cutter, pre-oxy-acetylene torch process for separating material on a bar. You just burn it. This isn't going to be as tight as I would like it to be, but that's okay. That's okay. Boy, I really need to make some tongs to hold this small crap I'm constantly starting to work on. Pickup tongs are not really the greatest tool for this particular job, let me tell you. Oh. There we go. Just about, and Now it's going. Now it's going. That's ugly. That aren't ugly. And flat now. There's much more I want to do with that. Surely ain't my best. Anyways, that's the leaf for the most part. You can do whatever you want on the back side of it, you know, or the tail. You can keychain it up, make a ring, whatever. Weld it to something. If you're gonna weld it, I would leave. Hey, let me pull the top on. Sports myself. Yeah, looking at my butt crack and everything because it felt a little chilly down there. Anyways, you can see it's a leaf. But if you on this end, if you leave yourself maybe an inch to half, 3/4 of an inch, maybe even ½ inch cube, I would leave more than 5/8, no more than an inch of parent stock on the bottom of this. And then you can use those to stack and weld each other together, forge welding them together. And if you do it right, you can use the parent bar as basically as a handle. So what you would do is come out and then imagine that there was, you know, this on there, come over here and weld them together, and then you can weld the other piece to this on top of there, boom boom, and another piece, you know, and you just go around and add to it. I mean, there's other approaches too. You can take two individual pieces. It gets a little harder, but you can do it. You take two small pieces, weld these together, then weld two pieces together there, and then take those four. You got a 2 and a 2, and then you just weld those together. You start getting more pieces, three, would that be 9 total? You could do that, but then you probably want to think about putting a collar around that and forge welding a collar onto it. A lot of different things you can do. What's nice about the collar is it adds a lot more mass there, and you can play with. I mean, if you stay off of it, you can. That's another reason you can stay off of it, and it basically creates a shoulder, and then you can taper that down, and you've got a nice little shoulder there for a spike or something, if you wanted to. There are a lot of different things you can do with it. That's what I love about this stuff. You can do so many different things. There's wind coming in the corner door. It looks like someone with a gray beard is looking over the top of your camera. Oh, I see what it is. It's the microphone condom thing. I suspect it's still there. Oh, no, looks like it's gone. At least on my screen, it looks like it's gone. That's pretty hilarious stuff. I want to cut that end off because it's just no bueno. So first I'm going to straighten this bar up. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that sucker off of there. So these
don't, none of these belong here. Time is it?
4 o'clock.
So I'm gonna cut this off and then I'm gonna cut this off. Excuse me. Never cut all the way through. There's no need to. Just ring it off. Put this down. I'll put this in my scrap bin that I recently emptied, as you can hear. And I am finito. I'll probably come back out later tonight. We'll see. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna work on now.
I have 2 Tong Toolbox version 3.0 ready to spray on some finish at the barn, way ahead of schedule for hammer-ins. Nice. Well, I gotta figure out how to cheat the hammer-in so I can win one. But yeah, that'd be cool. We got John Bennett's hammer-in coming up. I think his is April. And mine, ugh, I mean, I'm glad to do it. I want to do it. I enjoy doing it. It's the lead up to it that I dread the most. Cleaning up the shop. Ugh. Ugh. But the cool thing is I bought a little mixer, and I've got microphones, so I can actually mic up Zach if he's going to do the demo. I can mic Zach up so everybody can hear him, and then with this camera, I can actually put it on my big screen and people can watch it. You know, a little more detail, a little easier. Could be handy, or it could really suck. I don't know. We'll see. I am going to clean my fire pot out because I suspect multiple reasons. One, I'm probably going to come back out later. Two, I don't like starting a fire in a dirty fire pot. It means I got to clean it, and it'll probably still be hot. So cleaning it when it's still hot kind of sucks. Or, you know what I'm saying. All right. My wife bought some kimchi. It was no good. Mild. I'd never seen kimchi in that color. Apart Korean, by the way. So, it's no bueno. White girl buying kimchi. I think at Target. I appreciate the effort, but it was not good. Let's see what kind of treasure we have in here. Oh yeah. Probably gonna, it's too hot to come out clean. I appreciate those that dropped in and hung out on my not official stream that ran for 3 hours, almost 2.5. How many hours? Almost 3. You know what I should do? I should be more like Troy over at Bar and Forge and set it like a time and then just be done with it. And then I either get it done or I don't get it done. And my problem is
when I come out here, dude, I can stay out here until 3 in the morning. I don't care. If I'm inspired to keep working, that's what I'll do. I have to set an alarm clock in here to tell me to stop. Check this bad boy out. Oh, baby. Oh, bro. Oh. Anyways, there's 1/2. Oh, my clinker pan is not over here. Go. What's that? There's the other half of that. Good old chunk of clinker. Nothing irks me more than watching people do this. Look at that. But they'll just shovel in there and then throw that clinker right back up on the table. It's like, what in the world are you doing, man? Doing this small enough, I think, so down. I'm gonna clean that up. I'm gonna shut this off and go get something to drink, and then I'm gonna come back and finish cleaning up my pot. Got some strange friends, man. Some strange friends. Sending me some strange stuff. Okay. So yes, I'm gonna go the other way. I'll catch y'all later.